Hi, this is Haley, the face of Waco Girl Does. You're listening to No Waco. Welcome back to No Waco. I am your co-hostess with the co-mostess, Haley, and I'm joined by my very good friend, Kyndle Goodwin.
Hi, good to be here.
Yeah, so you are with a group called Refuge Waco. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Refuge Waco works here primarily in the Waco area, but we also have some groups in Belton, Temple, Killeen area, and we provide innovative solutions to gaps in the foster care system. So one of our big programs is a mentorship program that we serve 10 to 18-year-old youth who have been affected by the foster care system at some point in their lives, either currently or they've been in foster care, adopted, reunified with family, have some influence with the foster care system. And we pair them with trauma-informed mentors, and they have a lot of one-on-one attention from them as they journey through life. And then we also are working to provide transitional housing for young women aging out of foster care here in Central Texas.
That's really amazing.
Yeah, we're really excited about it.
So how did you get started working with Refuge Waco?
Well, my sister and I co-founded Refuge Waco in 2017. I had been a foster parent for a couple of years at that point. My husband and I became foster parents in, I guess it was like 2015, and we fostered 9 kids and adopted our 5 oldest. And so during that time, we just really did not have any idea how desperate the need was for things like this. You hear like the system is broken and verbiage like that, but you don't really know what it means till you're in it and you see the lack of resources and the lack of just available, spaces for kids to feel safe and to have somewhere to go without any other agenda, but to give them that dignity and that respect. And so that's what we wanted to help provide and help kind of end some of those cycles that seemed like they just were systematic failures.
Yeah, of course. So what is something that what's something that drew you to fostering in the first place?
Well, we actually came into fostering having experienced years of infertility and wanting to adopt, and now learning about how the system works and all of that. It's just there's a lot more to it than that, but that was what initially drew us, and then we were able to learn so much more about trauma and the effects of that on kind of every facet of society. But that's how we ended up becoming foster parents, and then we did adopt our 5 kids, but through them, meeting their bio families and learning all of the things that they had been through, it's kind of just reoccurring trauma upon reoccurring trauma that people are dealing with. And so we really felt like, the system is just like kind of a patch, like a Band-Aid on a bullet wound kind of situation. Yeah. So we wanted to create a space where we could look at more intensive care. Like, this is more than just a singular need, and removing, and sometimes permanently, removing people's children is not the answer to that situation. So how do we create, holistic trauma-informed care that makes spaces for people to grow and to have healthier futures? And really looking at the aging out community, the statistics for them are not good. So kids who are aging out of foster care are incarcerated at higher rates, homeless at higher rates, and have earlier unintended pregnancies at much higher rates than their peers. And so obviously we know the reasons why, but creating situations that are solutions to those problems instead of, just saying, well, this is a problem and we'll just keep doing what we've been doing, extending foster care, things like that. That's not the answer. They need a home environment where they're empowered to grow and to have healthy futures. So.
And I love that word, just like empowered to, take control of their future. And I think a lot of people just are like, okay, well, they're out of their own, they're 18, but there's so much time that you have, there's so many things that you just need a little bit of a leg up or just like a hand out,
Absolutely.
Just to kind of get you going. I mean, even if you didn't grow up in the foster care system, when you turn 18, you are very far from just an adult. you know, and having those resources, I'm sure that makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen, even just with our mentorship program, the impact that one mentor can have on kids, their, rates of skipping school, their grades, they're surrounding themselves with healthy friends and learning more about how to have healthy relationships. That is improved exponentially just through one person taking an interest in their lives and really caring about them and going above and beyond.
Right. So take me through a day in your life as a mom. I love your Instagram, all your little kiddos. Take me like through a day in your life as somebody who's on social media, working with this organization and being a mom.
Yeah, so most days are crazy. I have 7 kids. They're all 9 and under. So, it's never quiet. Yeah. But, most days start pretty early, getting the kids off to school. And then really with my role as executive director, it's ever changing. I'm corresponding with the board. I'm doing things like this, podcasting, right, and sharing about our vision, and meeting with donors, meeting with people who want to volunteer or feed into the organization in some way. And so it's really exciting, and I love that aspect of the job, that no day is the same, and I'm always getting to kind of share more about what we're doing and about our kids, because they're really the reason that we do this, and they're amazing, and they're resilient, and they're really, really, really special. And so I think if more people could see them, I think so often people hear like teenagers are in care and college students in care, and they have this like almost like they're afraid of them a little bit, right, yeah, like they're bad or scary, and they're not. They're regular kids. They're like every other teenager. They may have been through a lot more, but they're really just normal kids that want the same things that anyone else's teenage kids want. They want to go to prom. They want to make the basketball team. They are worried about their STAR tests. Like, it's all the same things that everybody else's kids are worrying about. And so I think that's really important to, see that, and to recognize that they're not in foster care because of anything they did. It's things right, that happened to them. So that's important.
Well, I love that you found that kind of gap in the system, and that you worked to, obviously you felt called to foster, which is amazing. And then not only that, but you wanted to improve the system in your own way. And I think that's really incredible and really special for not only your kiddos, but for everyone else that you're helping along the way. So,
thank you.
Yeah, of course. So let's talk about 2022. What are the kind of things that Refuge Waco has coming up in the near future?
Yeah, so like I said, our big project that we're working on right now is opening that transitional housing. So, of course, the number one thing that comes with that is fundraising for that. So, always looking for new donors and new people who want to be a part of that. That's something you can find out about on our website, refugewaco.org/donate. We're looking to have that open by late summer, early fall. And that will house about 6 women who have aged out of foster care between the ages of 18 and 24 here in Central Texas. So that accounts for about 10% of the women who age out of foster care in this area every year. So we're really excited about being able to put boots on the ground and get that up and rolling. That was really the original vision for Refuge Waco all along, right, was to get that housing started, because we just see the impact of what happens when kids age out and just don't have any type of safety net. Right. And it's really detrimental to their future success. So that is our big project, and that is what 90% of my work goes towards right now at this time. We have 2 incredible program directors that handle our mentorship program, and most of that falls under them. And so that's what I'm working on, and that's the biggest thing that's on the horizon for us. We're all excited, and we're all hands on deck for that.
So tell me, what is the difference that transitional housing makes, and why should people, want to get involved with something like that?
Yeah, so the difference in really transitional housing as opposed to something like extended foster care or even just a child aging out. I mean, when kids age out, they're left with very little resources. They, of course, have their state tuition paid, That doesn't cover books. That doesn't cover housing. That doesn't cover anything else. And I
Right.
know you're in school right now. You know those costs add up quick.
Yeah, yes.
So it's like tuition's great, but if you don't have anywhere to live or you just can't
very small
really
piece of
get
the
there.
pie.
That is
Right.
a very small piece of the pie. So being able to provide a safe place for them to live where they know they have secure housing, it is at 100% free to them, and they have people in the house who are helping provide them with mental health care, spiritual care, care for their physical health, all of those things that are often missing from just kind of bureaucratic, systemic. You're not necessarily getting that holistic approach with just foster care.
Right, exactly.
And I mean, the thing about extended foster care that is why it usually fails is that regular everyday kids don't typically want to stay in their parents' house at 18. So foster kids who haven't been welcomed into a family as a member definitely don't want to stay there any longer than is necessary. They're
Right.
ready to get out on their own, and they are very resilient, and they are very strong, and they are very street smart. So most of them think that they can do it on their own, but they realize very quickly what that lack of resources looks like, and it's very difficult to get on your feet if you're coming with nothing and without a lot of support in any way of someone to go to when things go wrong. That's why they're often found in situations that are really they're vulnerable. So
Right. Wow. And that's, I mean, I think that you've really summed it up perfectly the way that, obviously the system works, but also, the kind of gaps that you're filling there and, making a space that's really, really amazing. So as far as like, you said that that's just 10% of the people who are aging out. Is there any plans to expand that in the future?
yeah, absolutely. One of our next goal, once we have the initial home established, is to create a home for young men aging out of the system because they're vulnerable as well. And then we would like to create a third home here in Waco for young women who are aging out of care that already have minor children that they're looking to keep in their custody. Because so often when teen moms are in the system, they'll have their children removed from them for no reason other than that no one will take both the mother and the baby in one home. And so that's a huge need, just to create a safe space for them to learn and grow in their parenting and to have a space where they know that their child has a safe home. And so those are our two next goals on the horizon after we get the initial home off the ground.
That's so incredible. And I think we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back to talk about how you can get involved. All right, we are back with Kendall Goodwin with Refuge Waco, and I think we were just talking about how the transitional house impacts the people who are aging out of the foster care system. And I would just love to know how to get involved and how our listeners and viewers can get involved if they feel called to.
Yeah, so you can definitely visit our website. It's www.refugewaco.org. And you can see on there all of the links to sign up to volunteer, sign up for newsletters. There's links that you can go on there to donate. And basically all of our information about our programs is on there, and you can get signed up. You can also follow us on Facebook or Instagram at Refuge Waco on all of those. And so we're always looking for new volunteer mentors to work with our young people that are coming through the system. And we'll have some volunteer opportunities once the home is open as well.
Awesome. And so what are the ways that you are looking for volunteers? Like, what are volunteers doing with Refuge Waco?
What the mentorship program looks like is being paired one-on-one with a young person. They're between 10 and 18 years old. And the mentors typically meet with them once a month on their own for an outing. It can be, we've had as elaborate as going to a, musical, or we've had, go to the park, go to Starbucks, whatever you want to take your kid to do,
right,
whatever they're into. And so they meet with them one-on-one once a month on their own. And then once a month, we also have our Connect nights where the whole mentorship program comes together, all the mentors, all the kids. we serve them dinner, and then we usually have like a fun thing, a game, a skit, something happening that's fun and entertaining for them. And then we also do a life skill training. So we've done everything from, you know, therapeutic journaling, yoga. We've had a, you know, person come in and talk about the dangers of human trafficking. We've had someone do sex education. We've had healthy relationship conversations, resume building, all of those things with our young people, obviously broken down into age appropriate because 10 to 18 is a vast gap in those things. But all of those life skill trainings that maybe along the way they're not getting because either they're not being taught in school anymore, or, you know, they're shuffled foster parent to foster parent. Who they don't know what conversations they've, you know, have or haven't had. So some of those things just get missed. And so we want to make sure our kids have comprehensive everything, all of the knowledge that they need to be successful and happy and healthy in their teenage years. So those are the things that we're working with on them. And then we always give them a gift at the end of the night, whether it's, you know, their birthday, Christmas, we do big things. And then sometimes it's just bags of snacks, toiletry items, something fun. You know, on the therapeutic journaling nights, we gave them all journals and cool pens and stickers and all of the things so that they can integrate those things into their lives. So they always leave with something, and everybody always has a really great time. And so that's kind of what that mentorship program volunteer looks like, is obviously being a part of life with those kids. And we do a training, a trauma-informed training, and everyone passes a FBI background check. So we got kind of all hands on deck, making sure that the kids are safe and sound with whoever is working with them.
Well, that's wonderful. I mean, I know firsthand, well, I guess I could secondhand, but my partner was not in the foster care system, but was somebody who definitely relied on a mentorship program similar to that. And he actually used to go get taken to the park, and they would play Pokeball Go.
Yeah.
Just so that he could have, you know, a break with somebody who is trauma informed, and somebody who could help lift him up through, you know, a very difficult time. So I know how beneficial these mentorship programs are, and it's definitely something worth looking into if you feel called to that. And it's just, like I said, I know how big that can be in somebody's life, to just have somebody who is your person for, you know, at least an hour, you know, just to kind of get you out of the house and talking and doing something fun.
Yeah, definitely. It's Connect nights are always kind of everybody's favorite night of the month. They're some of my favorite nights because we just get to be with the kids and they get to be kids and take off all the pressures of a lot of adult things that they're dealing with. They shouldn't have to, but that's where we are in life. And so it gives them just an opportunity to really be free. And that's super special to me, to provide that space.
I love that. So you mentioned that you were kind of looking to expand into maybe 2 more transitional houses. So what are some like dream projects for Refuge Waco?
Yeah, I mean, so really the dream has always been to really start these programs and get them running super efficiently and then expand into other cities. Like I said, we've been able to do that so far with our mentorship program. From Waco, we've expanded into Killeen, Round Rock, and then we're looking to plant some other groups in bigger cities as well. And we would love to be able to do the same with the transitional houses, to create really strong programming for the house that works and that runs, and whether that's partnering with other groups or sending out groups of our own, to be able to create more of those spaces throughout Texas, and then maybe even moving into other states. That would be phenomenal. There's not a lot of places nationwide. I think there's about 18 to 20 that are not sanctioned by the state, that are just nonprofit run transitional housing. So there's just not a lot in the United States that are providing for the 20,000 approximately kids aging out of the system every year. Wow. So,
well, I mean, I think that's, I mean, obviously you have been called to do something incredible. I love your mission and your drive, and I think that's so wonderful. And it's been so lovely to have you on today. This is a podcast a couple weeks in the making. And obviously it's hard to get out with 7 kids, but I'm so glad that you were able to stop by today and tell us about your mission. And I've just really loved talking to you today. So the last thing I always ask my guests is, what do you want Waco to know about Refuge Waco?
I think I would love for just the Waco community as a whole. We're right in the middle of the Bible Belt. We're heavily churched. There's a lot of people who, profess the love of Christ and all of those things. So I just would love to see that turnout for foster kids. The church is really called to serve widows and orphans. We're a Christian community, and so I think sometimes it's hard to see those gaps in the system happening somewhere like this when I know there's so many people that care and want to help but maybe don't know how. So this is a way that you can show up and put feet to your faith and be participating in the lives of kids who are, in need of a home or a friend or a mentor or just a safe space to be. So that's something I would love for Waco to really be a part of.
And then I do just have a question as somebody who also struggles with infertility, and that is something that I feel like adoption and fostering is on my heart as well. So what would you say to somebody who is considering adoption or fostering and doesn't know where to start?
Well, I would say looking into agencies here in Waco, and of course you can work directly with the state through CPS, but I would also say just really informing yourself about the foster care system if you go into it hoping to adopt. I went in knowing nothing about foster care, knowing nothing about the system, and really that ignorance was not to anyone's benefit,
right.
As it never is. And so I think just knowing what the foster care system is for, the first thing that it is for is to reunify and strengthen families.
Of course.
And so having that attitude and perspective is really important. And it can save you a lot of heartbreak because the original goal is obviously for children to remain in their family of origin, but sometimes that can't happen. And as I've seen, it very frequently doesn't happen. And so I think just getting yourself prepared with the information, a lot of trauma-informed care, a lot of mental health care for yourself and the kids that come into your home, really understanding and tapping into those things is super important for fostering and then even for beyond, because it doesn't end at adoption. It's an ongoing, ever-evolving conversation, and it's always going to be a part of their lives and their story. And as my kid's mom, it's a part of my life and my story now as well. So knowing and always being willing to hear and understand those things. I would say if someone's considering that, listening to adult adoptees and adult former foster youth, what they have to say, things that they felt like went wrong or went right with their time in the system, and really being open-hearted to hear those things and hear those experiences, and not be defensive. We're
right.
kind of the people in the adoption triad that hold the most power, and so it's easy to be defensive when you feel like your side's being attacked or you're not being understood. But really listening to those voices and understanding their perspective will make you a better parent and probably a better person in general.
Right.
So that would be my advice to someone who's interested.
So it has been so incredible just like listening to you here today. Why don't you let the people know where they can find you and where they can get involved?
Yeah. So I'm Kyndle Goodwin. I'm at Kendy G and the Funky Bunch on Instagram. The Funky Bunch being my army of children.
So cute.
And then, of course, you can follow at Refuge Waco, and we're on Facebook at Refuge Waco as well. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Refuge does in the future.
Yeah, thank you so much, Haley. We appreciate it.
This has been Haley. I'm signing off. Tune in every Friday for all of the events and activities.
Now that you know Waco, just go. Go, Waco!
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.